Happy Friday. Welcome to the latest episode of Mystery Unsolved. I'm, of course, your host. Do I need a better intro? I don't know. That one's getting kind of old. Who knows? Welcome to the latest episode. A little bit of a modern episode, I believe, is what we have here. This recent episode that I'm about to do was actually an episode of the the newer version of Unsolved Mysteries. Tonight's episode is on the Oslo woman. So I believe it might be a murder. Again, my mind is a blank. I don't. I think she was murdered, and we're trying to find out who she was and why she was murdered, or why she disappeared. Without further ado, the Oslo woman. Before I get started, that might happen a lot. I sincerely apologize. I wanted to get this video out. Uh, in fact, let me take my last cough drop so I can prevent as much coughing as possible. I was sick last week, so the cough remains. All right. Without further ado, Mystery Unsolved, the Oslo woman. Or as it's called online, the Jennifer Fairgate case. 1995. Okay, so it's not modern, but it's more modern than most cases we do here. Say in May 1995, a woman using the alias Jennifer Fairgate and, and misspelled as Jennifer Fergate checked into Oslo Plaza Hotel, now the Radisson Food Plaza. 70 hours later, she was found dead in her room with a 9mm pistol in her hand and a gunshot wound to the head. Authorities ruled her death a suicide. So, right out of the get-go, it's a suicide. So, obviously the first question we ask here, she used an alias. So who was she? Literally what I said at the beginning. And also, was it a suicide? That's what we're here to find out. Her death sparked speculation across social media and inspired documentaries, many veering into conspiracy, but despite exhaustive investigations, her identity remains unknown and the case closed. So, yeah, we're gonna give a little. Let's get a little details, shall we? Just to make sense. Sorry, let's go into this to read into some details, shall we? Oh no. For the second straight week, military time. I hate military time. 2240, which is what? 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 o'clock? Who cares? At approximately 8, 8:40, 7:40, a woman registered at the Oslo Plaza Hotel under the name Jennifer Fairgate. Although she misspelled the alias twice on hotel forms as Fergate. How do they know she misspelled it? Maybe that was her name. She claimed to be 21, provided a false address in Verlaine, Belgium, and stated that a man named Louis Lois Fairgate would accompany her. Lois is spelt as a woman's name. I've never seen it spelt Unless it's supposed to be Louis, but it's spelled like Lois, as in like Lois Lane. Kind of weird. Despite hotel procedures, she was not asked for identification or to provide a credit card during registration. Why exactly? What type of hotel are they running here? Fairgate was described as elegant, well dressed, and composed. Witnesses reported that she spoke fluent English and German with no discernible accent. Okay, where are they again? Where did this happen? Where's the Oslo Plaza Hotel? Oh, Norway. Okay, okay. So the okay, trying to figure out why she would go in and out from speaking German and English. Fairgate was assigned room 2805 on the 28th floor, and her behavior throughout her stay was inconspicuous, with minimal interaction with hotel staff. Like, I don't know why this is such a foreign or hard concept for people to understand. If you've been through an ordeal and you have to stay at a motel or a hotel, I can assure you the last thing you ever want to do is interact with hotel staff. I would know. I had to, but like if I could have gone without interacting with so many freaking people, I would have. During her stay, she consumed three soft drinks and a bag of potato crisps from the minibar. You gotta love the details they give. Sorry, I'm going after the. I should just place this in front of me. All right. After checking into room 2805 with a key card at 224431, which is 744, the key card was used again to check into the room at 21, 21 minutes. Excuse me, and again at 8:34 on June 1st. Oh, she checked in on May 31st, and then she checked in at the key card was used again on June 1st. On the afternoon of June 1st, maids came into the room to find it empty. The extra comforter placed in the room on May 31st for Lois was found unused and stashed away by the maids. A keycard was used to enter the room at 8:50 on June 2nd, and again at 11:03 on the same day, implying that Jennifer was absent for 20 to 24 hours since Thursday morning. The same morning, Jennifer extended her stay to Sunday and was given two new keycards. No credit card or ID was collected from her. After this point, the Do Not Disturb sign hung on the door. On the evening of June 2nd, 1995, Fairgate attempted two international calls from her hotel room to Belgium. The numbers differed by one digit and were directed to the Surrey and Grace Holland areas, consistent with the location she gave when she checked in. The calls did not connect, and no recipient was identified. So, couple things as we draw back here. She was absent from the room for 20 to 24 hours, which I don't know about you, but if I'm checking in at a hotel, I'm not going to then spend almost close to an entire freaking day outside of it. That seems a little weird. To me, it sounds as if she put her, like, it's convenient for me to have this room, or I have business to attend elsewhere that other people might know about. So, to make myself conspicuous, I'm going to have this room to the side. That's just the first thought I get. Also, the no credit card or ID collected from her. Like, again, what kind of establishment are we running here? This isn't a Holiday Inn. Fairgate was last seen alive by a hotel worker who brought her room service on the evening of June 2nd. She gave a large tip of KR-50, approximately $8, $8 in 1995, equivalent to $17 in 2025. You want a nice tip? Man, that is a nice tip. Wow. Later that evening, someone in the room acknowledged a message. Hold on. Later that evening, someone in the room, isn't it her? Someone in the room acknowledged a message sent through the hotel's television, asking Fairgate to contact the hotel's front desk. Oh, Fairgate did not contact the front desk. And the following evening, June 3rd, the hotel sent another message, which was also acknowledged. Someone in the room acknowledged a message sent through the hotel's television. I'm I'm so confused by everything that says. Who's the someone in the room? She's alone in the room. A message sent through the television. I'm sorry. When do hotels send messages through the telephone? I mean, through the television. Usually it's the phone, and they'll call you. Nothing about that paragraph made any sense to me. Shortly after this acknowledgement, a security guard was sent to the room. He knocked on the door and heard a gunshot. He left the. Isn't it convenient that they send a security guard, and at the very moment that they send him, he hears a gunshot? Don't mind my blue screen. He left the area unattended to fetch the head of the hotel security, who entered the room 15 minutes after the guard heard the gunshot and discovered Fairgate's body. The door had been double locked from the inside, with no signs of forced entry, and both key cards were in the room. The extra comforter originally for Lois was unraveled on the bed and appeared messy. Okay, so a lot to break down there, but I think we broke it down significantly enough throughout me reading. She was a very mysterious woman. She kept to herself, and notice I haven't coughed once. This cough drop's doing its job. So she was mysterious. Holy crap! Kept to herself. A little a little odd. And then, wouldn't you know it, she gets contact with the TV, which I don't understand. And then security guard goes, "Well, we haven't heard from her." They send him. He hears a gunshot conveniently when he gets sent there. And here we are. Fairgate's body was discovered lying on the bed with a gunshot wound to the forehead and a 9mm Browning pistol in her right hand. She was still holding the weapon, with her thumb on the trigger and her other fingers clasped around the rear of the grip, and her hand was resting on her chest. The crime scene report states the right thumb of the corpse lay against the trigger, which was thus held in a posterior quiet position. When the weapon was released from the corpse's hand, a click could be heard as the trigger moved towards the forward position. Blood splatter was found on the pillow, telephone, bedside table, and the wall extending up the ceiling. So basically, I'm not a police officer or a forensic specialist, but I can almost 90% guarantee you that all of that description is correct in the fact that she killed herself. It would make sense. She does that, she falls back, blood splatter goes on the pillow, the wall. It all makes sense. And if I'm gonna, let's put it this way, let's go back to like season 1 or 2, the mysterious death of George Reeve. That didn't make sense. When he supposedly killed himself, there was blood splatter on the ceiling. There was There was no gunpowder residue. None of it made sense. But that's something I'm buying what they're selling. She was dressed entirely in black, a long blouse, bra, silk tap pants, stockings, and Italian-made heeled shoes. What does that say to you? To me, I mean, yes, she's entirely dressed in black. Johnny Cash would be proud. Italian-made heeled shoes, tap pants, stockings, a long blouse. Very sophisticated, very proper, very organized, right? On her right middle finger, she wore a gold ring. On her left ring, a Citizen Aqualand diving watch. And they give the model, which had its batteries replaced in March 1995. How do we know that? Why do we need to know that? The Browning pistol had its serial number partially removed, denying traceability. This is interesting. Now we're getting somewhere, right? So how how convenient do you suppose it is that the serial number has been partially removed? Is this because of frequent use? Or is it because it was literally used by someone who knew that they were going to use it to kill themselves and didn't want to be traced, didn't want to be identified, and they just decided, hey, let me just remove a little bit of this. A black blonde Buffalo attache case in the room contained 25 rounds of 9mm ammunition, with a further 7 rounds in the pistol's magazine. So, not only did she come packing, but she had an entire case of ammunition. I remember now this case, but if you're thinking what I'm thinking, you'd probably be right. I'm not going to say the word, but as we dig deeper here, unless they tell me, I will divulge the word that I'm thinking of. In her room was a nearly empty bottle of men's Ungaro Pour La Homme cologne and a turquoise green travel bag from German manufacturer Travel Light, containing 3 bras, tights and a top, a sleeveless blouse, gray coat, and a woman's blazer from the German manufacturer Rene Lazare. Ha 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 were hung in the room's wardrobe, with a cotton jumper and a long black leather jacket placed on the luggage shelf. All clothing labels had been removed, except for one on the blazer. Notably, there was an absence of clothing for the lower half of the body, with no skirts, leggings, or trousers, and only the underwear she was wearing. I knew this clue was going to come up. All clothing labels had been removed except for the one on the blazer. Who removes clothing? Who removes labels from clothing? Why would you need to? Again, you don't want to be found. You don't want to be traced. You still thinking of that word? Because I'm going to reveal it right after the third and final paragraph, if it isn't revealed to us already, of what I think she is. Amongst the items on the desk was a plastic newspaper bag containing an edition of USA Today, addressed to room 2816, located on the opposite end of the hallway from 2805. Investigators also found a fingerprint on the bag, which they were unable to identify. Of course not. Of course not. No identification documents such as a passport or wallet, nor any personal items like a toothbrush, toiletries, or keys were discovered. So again, this is a woman clearly on a mission. She only brought what she needed for literally the times that she knew she needed them. Could she have used a toothbrush and have brushed her teeth? Sure, but if you're going to kill yourself, what's the point? Why freshen up those pearly whites for the pearly gates? Or the burning gates? Okay, so after that paragraph, have you established what you think she is? Because after all of that, I've concluded that I think the Oslo woman was a spy. Alright, apparently I am back. I don't know what the fuck happened because I have it plugged in, so it shouldn't have done that. Alright, so we're back. And it literally stopped at the good part. Before I left, I said that she could be a spy. All of these things check out. The fact that she gave a false alias, the fact that she was dressed rather, conspicuously, or elegantly, I should say, the fact that she removed, the fact that she had a 9 millimeter, like, let's talk about that. But also the fact that she had she had removed. Sorry, I total mind lapse there. The fact that she had removed the labels from her clothing, except for that blazer. So, a little telling, right? Ah. All right. Investigators determined that two shots had been fired and two spent cartridge casings were recovered. In addition to the fatal head wound, a second bullet passed through a pillow embedding before embedding into the floor without striking the victim. Well, if the first bullet did its job, the same pillow was then turned over and was beneath, or maybe that was the first bullet. The same pillow was then turned over and was beneath the victim's head when the fatal shot was fired. The gunshot wound to her forehead indicated a close-range shot, with the bullet's trajectory showing it was fired while she was lying on her back. Samples from the skin of both hands revealed no trace of gunshots residue, blood splatter, or signaling, or singeing, and there were no defensive wounds. The deceased was estimated to have been between 21 and 35 years of age. You couldn't shrink that? 21 and 35 is a really big gap. A white female of European descent, approximately 5 feet 2 inches tall, and weighing an estimated 148 pounds. She had short black hair, possibly dyed in blue eyes. No distinguishing marks or unique physical features were recorded. She had relatively expensive dental work, Oh, so that's why she didn't need to brush her teeth, because she had expensive dental work every time. Consistent with practices found in the United States, Switzerland, and Germany. Toxicology showed no alcohol in her blood. No tests were conducted for drugs. Oh, you see, you gotta test for drugs. Come on. Fingerprints and a DNA profile were obtained post-mortem, but no matches were found in police databases. I love when they run DNA and fingerprints, and they're like, we have nothing. We have no clue. Especially as someone so conspicuous and mysterious as her. And again, if she was a spy, like it would almost explain it, but it almost wouldn't. But if you're a good enough spy, you're not in any databases. You're like the equalizer. You're like John Wick. If you want to be found, you'll be found. Theories. From the outset, investigators faced significant challenges in determining Jennifer Fairgate's identity and unraveling the events leading to her death. The absence of personal effects, her fabricated address, the removal of identifying labels, and the pistol's illegible serial number have all fueled speculation about her identity and the circumstances surrounding her death. Due to the lack of evidence of a struggle, her room door being double locked from the inside with no source sign of forced entry, and the discovery of the pistol in her hand, Norwegian police ruled Jennifer Fairgate's death a suicide with a 99.9% certainty. We're not killing germs here. I don't think you can just throw down 99.9. No, sorry. However, the absence of gunshot residue. Oh, I stand corrected, and the right said George Reed case didn't have gunshot residue. This one didn't either. However, the absence of gunshot residue or blood on her hands, the pistol's awkward placement, and an extra ammunition have led to the questioning of this conclusion. Again, though, if she's a spy, if she's trained to do it, I mean, it's a 9 millimeter. I don't know how certain guns fire, but something tells me that there's a little less blood splatter to a 9 millimeter. I'm just going to go on record and say that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Others argue the external parties may have staged the scene to appear as a suicide, and suggest that she was killed by someone she knew. Lois. Hotel records show she registered a guest under the name Lois Fairgate. However, he never surfaced during investigations, and only her fingerprints were found on the pistol and cartridges. Also, they would have known because they would have seen him in the lobby go to the room. Also, his fingerprints would have probably been on the door so he could get in. Also, they would probably have been at some point on other things throughout the room. Fairgate's use of an alias in possession of a tactical watch associated with military use has also fueled speculation of Cold War espionage. Norwegian intelligence officer Olav Kaldagger told Unsolved Mysteries that the removal of clothing tags, and her language fluency were consistent with intelligence tradecraft. Others suspect Norwegian's E-14 security service, noting her checking without ID, a guard leaving after hearing a gunshot, and the swift suicide ruling. So again, back to what I said, she's either military or she's a spy. In other words, she's in Central Intelligence. You know what I mean? Each theory faces strong counterarguments. Homicide lacks evidence or another person. Espionage is undetermined by the absence of documents or leaks. A plausible scenario for the weapon's mutilated serial number is that it was acquired through a black market, rather than a spy, ghost gun, and language fluency is common in Europe. Without concrete evidence, the case remains the formal verdict of suicide. I don't doubt that it was suicide. I'm more interested in finding out who the woman was. You know what I mean? So, what are the theories here? Well, also got a little bit of a runny nose, but a stuffy one, whatever you want to say. What do you want to call it? I'm still, my number one theory is literally than what I said 15 minutes in. I think she was a spy. I think she was in espionage, foreign espionage, like military spy, all that stuff. Because it, to me, everything adds up to that. Like, yes, you can say the absence of documents or leaks, but it's like, okay, but if she's a spy and she's working for a good enough, if it's the military or it's the government, or she's working for a good enough agency, there ain't going to be any documents. There ain't going to be any leaks because they're good at what they do, right? We've been through this before. We've been through this before. I'm sure you've watched shows or documentaries yourself. Like, so yeah, I think they're um they're trying to say like that's not a counter argument to me. I think she killed herself. I think she was a spy. She was a foreign espionage spy, either working for the government or the military. And she checked into the hotel because her position was compromised for whatever reason. Maybe she checked in her husband, Lois Fairgate, because she thought that maybe there was going to be someone that was going to come there to help her. But when she realized that they weren't going to show up, she did the only thing that was left to do. So maybe the husband was the person that she was supposed to meet with, that would have perhaps cleared this up or determined what to do with her. But because they didn't show up, she pretty much realized that, okay, my fate has been sealed. So I'm just going to do myself a solid here and end it. I think that sounds totally plausible, in my opinion. What do you think? Who do you think Jennifer Fairgate was? What do you think she was? And how do you think she died? Do tell me in the comments below. Leave a comment. And of course, if you haven't already, be sure to hit the subscribe button so you know anytime that I do go live for more of these videos and any other time. And to sum this all up, I think that Jennifer Fairgate, the Oslo woman, again, I think she was a spy. I think that her position as an agent was compromised. And because the person that she identified and listed to possibly show up as her husband didn't show up, that her fate was ultimately sealed and she knew she couldn't really go further in not only the agency but in her life because it was on the line. So she unfortunately committed suicide. If Unsolved Mysteries or anybody else connected to the case watches this by an off chance and thinks that everything I'm saying sounds good, comments or please reach out to me. I will gladly provide you with any more details that I might think of. This, of course, has been Mystery Unsolved. Do stay tuned for next week's episode, where I will be talking about the Michigan Triangle. We've done the Bermuda Triangle. We've done the Bridgewater Triangle. And now we're going to do the Michigan Triangle. For Mystery Unsolved, this is Justin the Enveneer. Until next time.